Hi guys, this is Musa Salaudeen again. You are welcome to our page. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, and invite your friends to our page. You can also leave comments on our comment section box. Thank you. Today in government, we will take a look at state and democracy, the concept of state and democracy. How important are they in the study of government? First, we look at a state. A state, as we all know, can be defined as the politically organized body of people who live in a specific geographical territory with an organized, legitimate government. What do we mean by all this? It means that a state is a place where people live together, but they are bound by a principle, a principle of living together, and they must be bound to live under a specific government. The essence of it is that this government will make sure that they secure habitual obedience from the people within. It may also be said that a state must be entirely free from external control. But mistakes we students make is that most times we make a mistake of not being able to recognize what a state, a nation, and an empire is all about. A state is different from nation empires. For examples of states are a country like Nigeria, we have United States of America, we have Ghana, we have Madagascar, etc. They are called states or countries. There are a place like Saudi Arabia is an example of a kingdom, not a state. Now let's take a look at the characteristics of a state, the attributes in which we can see in a particular place before we can call them a sovereign state. Number one is permanence. When we talk about permanence, we talk about the state not being artificial or temporary. Permanence in a state means that the state will continue to exist for a particular period of time, which is very long, except in some few cases of war or conquest. That's when a state may cease to exist. Then permanence will not be there. But a state will always have permanence. The next one is government. Government of a state are the ones who compel obedience from the citizens. They make sure that the people have habitual obedience towards the policies of the state. The difference between government and permanence in the features of a state is that government is temporary while the state is permanent. There is permanence in the state, it will always be forever, but the government is for a particular period of time. In some cases of some countries like Nigeria, we have the government having the tenure of 2 tenures, 1 or 2 tenures. Then the government can stay in power for 4 years, maximum of 8 years. After that, the government changes power, but the state will always remain the same. It's permanent. The third characteristic of a state is divine territory. Every state must have its boundaries, must have its territory, its borders with other countries of the world. That's what we mean by divine territory. And again, a state must have population. Population is one of the most important features of a state. There are people that must always live in that state. There are people in which the government must rule over. There are people who are loyal to the government of the state and the state as a whole. So these people are the ones that make up the population of the state. The last but not the least is recognition. For any country or any state to exist, it must be recognized, both internally and external. Other countries must be able to recognize and reason with them that, oh, these people, they are called a country or a state. Now let's look at the concept of democracy. In simple terms, when we talk about democracy, we are talking about synonyms like liberty. We are talking about freedom from constraint. Democracy also means license to do things with free will. Democracy means exemption from arbitrariness. It also can be said to mean modernity. Democracy is orthodoxy. Democracy is general acceptability. Democracy means the rule by the majority. Then let's talk about the origin of democracy. As we all know, as is generally written to us in our narratives, we can trace the origin of democracy to the two ancient Greek words, demo and kratos, where demo means the people of the community, kratos means power or the authority to decide. Then we have the word democratia. Democratia means a community run by all its members. So democratia can now be said to have metamorphosed into the word democracy. So it is safe to say that democracy is a form of government in which the people exercise their governing power either directly or through representatives periodically elected by them. What do you mean by this? It means that there are people in the community who need to be represented, but they either come out by themselves in form of an assembly, in form of debate, it could be in form of referendum, it could be in form of a general meeting in society, or can also come in form of election of some people, either direct periodically. Further definition of democracy as a thing or a concept of the people was also given by the former president of the United States of America. We are talking about Abraham Lincoln. He defined democracy in a layman term as the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Government of the people can be said to mean that government in which is being done on behalf of the people. Government by the people means the periodically elected representatives of the people, and for the people means that the people who are elected into power or into government must be accountable and reliable for the people. Democracy has a lot of features and attributes, but we'll take a look at a few. Uh, for a democratic state, there must be existence of political parties, there must be supremacy of the constitution, there must be application of the rule of law, then there must also be the separation of power among the organs of government. Also, in a democracy, the press must be free, that is the freedom of the press. In a democratic setting, there must be an independent judiciary to curb arbitrariness by any arm of government. There must also be the free association and periodic election in a democratic state. Then let's take a look at the merits and demerits of a democracy. The first merit of democracy is the freedom to choose whoever wants to represent you. Because in as much as people are allowed to vote for their leaders of their choice, the people are okay. As long as people are voting, coming out periodically, the praise and the blame of any particular government will also be on the people, directly or indirectly, because they will be responsible for being the ones that voted for such particular government. The second merit of democracy is equal opportunities for all. The next merit of democracy is stability, because democracy provides and promotes stability in the country. How? Is through the periodic election after every political idea. Democracy also gives legitimacy to government, since it's the people who voted for such. Legitimacy is one of the features of democracy, because general acceptability of the people is very important for any government. The next feature of merit of democracy is the application of the rule of law. Democracy is one of the few political concepts that ensures that rule of law is enacted in any country, because it gives equal rights before the rule of law, regardless of the states. The next one is decision in democracy is reached by a discussion, or it could be argument, or through dialogue. Disadvantages of democracy include first, slow decision making. We all see that due to the bureaucracy or administrative bottlenecks, decision making in democracy is very slow because quick decisions are often hard to come by. Every ministry, every department must be carried along. The second one is the costness of a democracy. Democracy is very expensive to operate due to the application of offices and portfolios. The next one is the incompetence of leaders. Incompetent people may be in government because candidate screening are sometimes not thorough. When elections are near, there will be a lot of rush and manipulations, whereby it comes out that many candidates are not thoroughly screened. Also, democracy cannot present by the rules. I mean, democracy cannot represent the rule of the many because due to the huge population and different values and interests, the rule of the many cannot be practically actualized. Next one is the opposition and disunity. One of the demerits or disadvantages of democracy is that there will be a lot of opposition, there will be a lot of interest groups that will make sure that they truncate the effort of a sitting government, in which it destabilizes and negates all the principles in which democracy seeks to represent. In summary, we can say a state is the society of the people, and also we can say the government is the machinery in which those people in the state are being controlled and ensured coercion. But democracy is the system is one of the systems that is employed by the government to make sure that it gives back to its people what is expected of them, and also to ensure that all the population of the state are ably represented. So that's it for today on the concept of democracy and state. Please, hope you don't forget to like and subscribe, and also leave comments on our section box. Thank you. See you in our next class. Bye. Now let's look at